Hi there, my name is Scott McPherson of Turner McPherson Golf Design. This is a short video about how we're building our golf greens at Royal Wellington Golf Club. Golf greens are, if not the most expensive, certainly the most important part of any new golf course design. They are the faces of the golf course. We spend a lot of time trying to get 18 unique greens for the 18 unique holes. And that starts at the drawing board. But very certainly, golf greens are built on the ground. I can't overstate the importance that we put on having the right materials, the right team, and the attention to detail. What we'll show you today in the video is a green being taken from an approved putting surface right through till just prior to seeding. Before we go there, let me show you a couple of plans and then we'll go out and show you how to build a golf green. The plans that we have today are the plan view of the hole itself, and here you can see a perspective sketch of what the hole will look like. And then over here on the computer, this is the putting green itself. This green is almost circular and about 600 square meters in size. It's surrounded by 3 bunkers, and further left of the large bunker is the stream. In order to build the green in the ground, we need a central point. You can see that in the middle of the green here. And then in order to get the edge of the green, we have these radiating lines, each with a measurement on it. This is 13 meters and that says 15 meters. And that's to these letters that surround the green. The letters correlate to another plan and they tell us the elevation of those points. We have high points and low points. The highest point on this green is at the back. It flares up and joins with the existing contours. The low point is this section through here, and we call that our thumbprint. So there's the plan. Now let's go and show you how we're building these greens. So here's the 10th green from the sort of left-hand angle. In the foreground you can see this stream or burn that we're cutting down through. You can see in the green there's a lower left-hand section, which we call a thumbprint, and then there's a higher section behind it. But really happy with the contours in the green here. It's got nice movement in the back edge. On the green itself, you can see a slightly better view of this thumbprint, as we call it, running through the green. It's probably about a foot lower than the rest of the green, about 30 to 40 centimeters. But the green's about 600 square meters in size and lots of little interesting contours, internal contours. Now this is the phase that happens after we've approved the base of the putting surface. Here you can see the workers putting a thin layer of gravel on the bottom of the trench. The trenches that have been cut in are on a 5 meter spacing, 5 meters between each trench. So the water that hits the putting surface never has to travel more than 5 meters to get into a trench. After the gravel was put into the trenches, the next thing is the pipes laid in. And here we can see some pipe, there's some loose pipe just lying on top. And it's a certain type of pipe which we call perforated. And it's quite hard to see, but just through the pipe there's very small bits of spacing which allows the water to go in. So the perforated pipe then is laid in the trench on the bed of gravel, and here you can just see some other gravel which is holding the pipe in place. But the entire trench will be filled with gravel, and then the whole of the putting surface will have another about 4 inches or 10 centimeters of gravel put over its entirety, which sits under the root zone putting sand. The digger, which is just leaving up there, that's the machine that's been used to cut all these trenches. And it's quite important that these trenches are all clean and that they all drain as well. So the laser level that we saw at the very start, which is over there, has been used to check that all these trenches are running to a low point. In this case, all this herringbone drainage runs down to here, and then from here it connects into an outfall pipe which has got the yellow line on it rather than the blue line on the perforated pipe. The yellow line means that it's a solid pipe, doesn't have any perforations on it, and that will carry all the water down to the catch basin. and from the catch basin the water runs down the line and into the stream. This additional trench you can see is just outside the green itself, and that's where the irrigation is going to go. It hasn't been installed yet, but that's the next thing that'll go in. Just to the left of this new 10th green is the bunker, and in the bunker you can see a drainage line, and that one has been filled to the top with the gravel. Well, we've now moved into another phase on the 10th green. So we're now looking at the irrigation line, and you can see the pipeline and the cabling, and this is running in a trench that will run down and around the entire green. Around the green itself is the plastic liner. That's what gives us the separation between the green, which is the gravel and the root zone, and then the topsoil, which will surround the green, and it just gives us an impermeable membrane where water doesn't move from one side to the other. As we look at the green itself, you can see the drainage, and that's now being covered with the gravel carpet, which will be 4 inches thick. The machine will sit on the gravel carpet and push it round, and the man beside it will check the depth to make sure that it's an even, uniform depth all the way around. The gravel carpet will mimic the contouring inside the green, and then the root zone sand will be put on top of that. All being overseen by our greenkeeper, John Spraggs. Morning, John.
Morning.
So there he is, raking out the gravel, and the stakes you can see inside the green also are guidelines for the depth. If I focus in here a little bit on that one, you can see the white bands. The white band at the base of the gravel is the 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and then there's another white band higher up, and that's where the root zone will come up to.
This green has 10 irrigation heads spaced around the green. They're grouped in pairs of 2. One of the heads is 180 degrees, throwing water onto the green. The other head is a 360 degree head, throwing water in all directions. Having the combination of the 2 different types of heads gives the greenkeeper maximum flexibility.
Now here we are, and the 10th green has got its gravel carpet on, that we've completely covered up the base of the green and all the drainage, and you can see the liner around the outside of the green and the gravel carpet completely covering it. While the gravel carpet is completely covering the base of the putting surface, though, we can still see the contours within. So that's our thumbprint within the green on the left side of the green, and it's still there because the gravel carpet is evenly spread across the base of the green. This is the topsoil respread phase. So here's the digger respreading the topsoil around the collar of the bunker and around the green as well. And once this is complete, the next phase will be bringing in the sand, the root zone sand, and covering the green up to the top of the liner. The topsoil collar's now been put around the green and around the bunkers and around the sand approach. Now it's time for the root zone sand to go in. What you can see here is the sand has been brought in by a tractor with a trailer, and the digger, which is sitting on top of the sand, then moves that sand into position. Constantly there's a man here with a prod too, just checking the depth, and he keeps the sand in front of him and pushes it out so that he's never tracking on top of the gravel, he's always moving on top of the sand, which also helps compact it. But as we come a little closer, you can see the liner now up against the edge of the green, and the reason it comes over the liner here is because this is the edge of the sand approach, looking back down the fairway. There's the burn that runs down the left side, and the bunker, which is really in the front centre of the green. But when you look
here the way that they're pushing the sand out over. You can see it's a uniform depth no matter what's happening to the base of the green. Here we are spreading the root zone on the 10th green. It's a process that requires really two people. There's a man out there prodding the depth, making sure that it's the required 300 millimeters, and then the digger comes through and just moves the material around a little more if we need a little more, or scrapes a bit off. You might notice in the background there is a couple of trailers with more root zone, and that root zone will be brought onto the green to fill the last section, which is down around here. What you're looking at there is the gravel raft. That's about 10 centimeters, 100 mil deep, and then, as I said, it's 300 mil of root zone on top. What's great about this process is the root zone will then mimic what the gravel layer is, and the gravel layer is mimicking what the base of the green has been shaped to. So the current area we're doing here is actually a low section of the green. About 1/3 of the green is lower than the other 2/3, and we're just trying to make sure that the drop off, the tear between the two different elevations is correct. Which is why the prodding is so important. The other thing that happens here, which is really helpful, is that by having the digger tracking over the root zone, it's nicely compacted and settled in, so we won't get any low spots that develop after the green has been seeded. There he is, just spreading it out. Obviously needed a little bit more through there. This process will usually take about a day to put out all the root zone on a green which is about 600 square meters. The last bits I'll do, once I've finished the putting surface itself, is to do the sand approach. Some sand's already been put there, and we've got a second sand approach on this side. All the root zone sand's now in, both on the green and on the approaches. And that's how it looks. The next stage will be coming with the sand pros and do all the fine cultivation ready for seeding.